person talking about love, thine brother is the preacher. And it seems nobody's interested in learning but the teacher.
Hey, Chalk Talkers.
Hey, Chalk Talkers.
Well, we're here again for another exciting episode of Chalk Talk. And today we're here with Patrick Castelli. Patrick, go ahead and say what's up to everybody.
What's up, everyone?
Okay, so there you go. That's our episode today. Thanks for
Well, it's been great having you guys.
So, those of you who are foolish enough not to know who Patrick is here, Patrick is a strongman who's had moderate success at the sport of strongman. You just won, what was it, last February?
March.
Or March?
Yeah.
So in March, you won the 175 World Championships at the Arnold.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, he's just a world champ.
Sounds
You know,
okay.
It's something kind of cool, but...
Yeah.
You kind of have the surfer look to you, though.
I'm going for that, like, West Coast casual look.
Yeah, okay.
Well, and I mean, my only concern is, where's the man bun today?
Oh, I got it, dude.
Okay.
I'm ready. There's 2 wrists full of scrunchies.
So basically that's going to be the whole episode, is we're just going to be talking about grooming techniques and how to make ourselves look good.
You know what I realized? I really want to play you in Scrabble just so I could win. Like, I've never won in Scrabble my whole life, but I totally want to play you in Scrabble so I'll win.
Wait, what? Where the fuck did that come from?
Just listening to him talk, like, I'm like, oh, dude, I could totally beat him in Scrabble.
What?
No, it's serious.
Okay, you guys have to play. Losers got to do something stupid.
Yeah.
Now I think we're going to play Scrabble.
I'm going to up the ante. A-N-T-E. Not a word.
What the fuck?
How is that not a word?
Oh, man. I actually played Scrabble one time and I used Chi, spelled it the Q-I. And I was like, well, that's the more traditional spelling of how to spell Chi. No!
That's a word.
I know it is,
Okay.
but the people I was playing with were all freaking out at me.
Here
The
real
Chi
quick.
word.
Yeah.
All right.
So anyway, we're here with Patrick Castelli, and so Patrick, if you want to give us a little bit about yourself and just how awesome you are, and
Yeah. Well,
and thanks for coming down today.
yeah, no worries. That was a
Like
fun
that's
trip.
the other thing is you drove down from Seattle
Yeah.
this morning
Yeah.
to come be with us today.
I'm sorry this isn't cooler in person.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool when I got here. I thought it was pretty sweet. A lot better than looking at the inside of my car for 4 hours. Like, man, this place looks awesome. Yeah, a little bit about myself. It's not that cool because you guys did an episode with Zach first, and I feel like whenever I go after Zach, I'm always like the smaller, less successful, pretty much same story as Zach, just less of everything. It's really unfortunate.
Are you like a molecular biologist?
No. See,
Wow,
I'm
that's also
less. See, I'm
disappointing.
already just right off the bat. It's just not as good. God damn it.
You're not an astronaut. So you're not an astronaut.
Not an astronaut.
Your car's cool though.
I do love my car. Way better than Zach's car. I drive a GTI from like the MK4 series. I love that thing. Zach's car is a piece of shit. Got you there, bitch. So started off wrestling. Grew up wrestling. Wrestled all through high school. Went to Western, and they had gotten rid of the varsity wrestling team, so we were kind of just wrestling as like an unsanctioned club, which was basically just, you know, doing whatever we wanted. Lifting in the weight room one day, and this guy who I thought at the time was massive, he was probably like 240, which now seems kind of small to me, but he comes up to me and he's got this big, deep, scruffy voice. Did you ever meet Chris Lee? Were you around then? Okay. Chris Lee comes over and he's like, "Are you lifting that?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You're pretty fucking strong for a little guy." And he's like, "Oh, thanks." He goes, "You should do the powerlifting meet we're hosting here next weekend." And I was like, "Oh, no, I'm good, thanks." He goes, "No, I mean like you're doing it." And that was and I was too chicken to say no because he seemed massive at the time. So I was like, okay. Did my first powerlifting meet and I won my weight class, took second in the overall weight coefficient. I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. And then kind of got to know him, and he ended up, well, he didn't end up. I found out he was one of Jesse Moronde's old training partners, one of Sarge's boys from Swim. He's like, hey, you should do some strongman stuff. And I was like, no, I'm okay, thanks. And he's like, no, I mean, you're gonna do some strongman stuff. And I was like, I just want to wrestle and fight. And he goes, this will help. And I was like, okay, well, why not? And then, so I'd be training back home in Kirkland, and then I'd go to school for the year, and I'd lift, and then I'd go back home for the summer and train. And it's kind of hard to wrestle and box and stuff like that when you've got nobody to train with. And so kind of fell away from that and just kept doing more powerlifting and more strongman. And that you could do by yourself, really. So,
yeah,
I mean, it was easier to just keep doing that. And then by the end of that, actually, we ended up getting our wrestling team sanctioned again. Wrestled for a little bit in college, went to nationals for wrestling, did okay. Not all-American like Zach. Again.
You sell a cool car.
But I've got a cooler car.
That guy sounds like a dick.
Bitch, dude.
You weren't here for
He's
that either.
He's a mystical little hobbit is what it is. Fucking always barefoot, walking around with his hairy feet and strong as fuck. Whatever. Yeah, and then I went to nationals 1 year for strongman, and I got my ass kicked. I think I took like 16th or 18th or something terrible. Went in with a bum knee because I got injured playing racquetball with my dad. Which is pathetic. And then when I got done wrestling, I was like, okay, I'm not cutting weight for wrestling anymore. And like when I went to wrestle at nationals, I was cutting down to like 149.
Jesus.
Never happening again. Like ever. So because I didn't have to cut down to 49, I could actually show up and be like a big, strong 175er. And showed up 1 year and just had a really, really consistent performance and didn't win any event, just kind of consistently did well and won nationals, went to the Arnold, took like 7th or 8th at Worlds, went back, won nationals again, had a much better performance, and then went to the Arnold and won. And now I'm moving back to school to get my master's, not in anything super fancy like Zach, but just a master's. And
what are you going for your master's in?
Exercise physiology and biomechanics.
Nice.
Yeah. And then we'll see. I'm kind of like playing with the idea of wrestling again because I've got eligibility, but it's so hard to leave strongman and powerlifting when you finally feel like you're getting successful. How do you leave a sport when you're
right
when you feel like you're hitting stride? You know what I mean? So that's it. And I just lift heavy stuff and eat food. That's all. And I'm broke, which is like the standard combo for any successful lifter, right? And you plug, not sponsored by anyone.
And you compete in the 175 class.
That'll do.
You're a 175er.
Yeah.
And so what do you normally try to walk around at?
Normally like 77, 78. I mean, this is the biggest I've ever been right now. I'm actually taking some time to, in the last couple of years, I only got to powerlift once, and it was like 6 weeks notice. I didn't really prep the way I would have cycled for that kind of a contest, and then, so now this time I'm actually taking a good chunk of time, 12 weeks to get ready. I'm going to lift at 181, so I work with Roger and Allie Baker. They do all my nutrition and stuff, and trying to get up to 190-ish, somewhere in that range, and then just cut down to 181 for the meet. So this is the biggest I've ever been, but I've also got some plans to go to Worlds for the 198-pound weight class in Norway. I got invited, and so I was like, well, might as well go to Norway.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would get my ass whooped right now, so I need to get a lot bigger. So this is kind of the biggest I've ever been, actually. As far as 75, I usually never show up over 180.
And how long have you really been competing in strongman now?
I'd say competing for like 5 or 6 years, but I mean 3 of those years was while I was wrestling, so I would spend over half the year, cutting weight and wrestling and not lifting like that. So yeah,
it's crazy to have that kind of success in such short of a time. You know, a lot of people will be in strongman for 12, 14, even longer sometimes, and not have the type of success you've had.
Thanks.
What's why is there no like real pro class for the 175s?
There's no money. I think it was perfect when I was watching the episode you guys did with Zach. God damn it, that guy's smart. He nailed it. Like, they don't push their athletes to the front, so like, nobody knows who we are. Nobody knows who I am. I'm fucking nobody. I'm not important. Which is fine. I didn't do it for money or fame or anything like that. I just like doing it. It's fun. I wouldn't mind getting some money, but and so if there's not a huge interest, then there's no money going into it. Then there's no money for us. And so, I've talked with Zach about this a bunch of times. Even the 105K pros. Like, how many shows do they get to do a year? Maybe one international show if they're lucky and they get invited. Other than that, it's usually just America's Strongest Man for 105 kilo. Other than that, what's the point? You get a pro card so you can compete once a year?
Yeah.
No thanks. Like, I'd rather compete 3 or 4 times. So everyone's like, well, you should be a pro. You're the best in the world. Like, well, what's the difference? I'm the best in the world, so who cares if you're pro or not?
Right.
This is still the only country that really has a
that
class that says pro or amateur.
Yeah.
The European countries don't do that. They're just, you win and you're good and you move on. That's it. Like, I don't care. I don't want to get started on that shit though.
Well, and that's a good point though. Like, that's one of the things I started kind of like thinking about was maybe I should just go compete more in Europe because of the lack of contests that you can really do as a pro.
You do well in Asia.
Yeah, that's true. I'd be a big guy over in Asia.
You always go zero class. Oh man, that just made me think of the year that they had it in China recently. And they had the one Chinese guy that he was like, they said he was like 280, and I was looking at him, I was like, that guy's like 250. Hops. He's getting schooled right now. Like, he's got no business being there. No offense.
You're still there. But...
Yeah, you're there. Props, but Jesus. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that back. If you went to Somalia, you'd take that.
But their strongmen would just be like running or something.
Yeah, they'd outrun your ass.
It would be like a 300-pound yoke for like 2 miles.
It's like, at that point you do like 10 feet and you're just like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah, I can
Water buffalo carry.
But I do think that you mentioned something in your big talk about yourself that I noticed, and I think it's good to mention that it always cracks me up that when you're doing strongman and you're lifting like all these crazy implements and you're lifting all this crazy weights and all this crazy stuff where you're wrestling and you're fighting all this stuff, you get injured playing racquetball with your dad.
Yeah.
And
Racquetball's pretty intense.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it always happens that
know
way.
what you're doing.
Yeah, it always cracks me up because it's like whenever you like really talk to people who do like strongman or powerlifting or stuff like that, you start to ask like, oh, you like tore something, how'd that happen? And you're figuring like, oh, they were going for like a 700-pound bench or something. It's like, oh, well, like your back's messed up. How'd you hurt your back? Well, I was moving some stuff and
shovel.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that it's just funny that it always seems that whenever you're in that really hard on your body sport, it always seems that you get hurt outside of it doing something silly almost, or something that, not necessarily silly, but something that's like, people would just kind of look at it like, oh, that's not a big deal, and then it's like,
my ankle. So
right.
down a step wearing flip flops. Not even a stair, but like
It was your wife's high heels. Well, never mind.
But it's just like I think about that like when I was doing fighting, when I was fighting, I got injured. I broke my thumb skateboarding. I broke my foot. At work there was an accident. I broke my foot, and then it was like I was out of training for all this time because I was getting injured outside of fighting. Like, I would go in the ring and fight and all this stuff, and like I was training, had no problems. It was when I was outside, like doing I'm gonna go skateboarding. Well, just this little compound dislocated my thumb. That's great.
I can't see you skateboarding.
Yeah, that's probably because they're like,
Blows my
oh,
mind.
I'm 300 pounds. I should skateboard. That
If you
seems like a
duct tape
great
two
plan.
skateboards together, it's more solid.
I will say though that I did try and I was messing around. So the gym that I work at and train at, we share a wall with AMC. It's like the oldest MMA gym in the country, and in my opinion, like the best. And so I was kind of just killing some time waiting for Tractovic to die, and I was gonna head home. And I popped my head in, and I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm talking to one of the kickboxing coaches there. He recently had a ACL surgery, and he's hitting pads. He's like, "How's it looking?" I'm like, "Dude, I think you look great." And he goes, "No, seriously, like it looks okay." I'm like, "Dude, you just had surgery. Like you look really sharp for somebody who's just coming off a big surgery like that." He goes, "Oh, thanks." He goes, "What are you doing? You want to hit some pads after this?" And I haven't hit pads in like 2 years. And I was like, "Why? You want me to make you look really good now? Like, what the hell? What? I have no business doing that right now." But I said yes because I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
And I didn't have wraps, so I just threw on some gloves with no wraps, which was a big no-no. And start messing around. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm warming up. Feels good. I'm moving. And then start picking things up. And then at one point, I just threw this nasty left hook, and I just knew from that very second, I was like, I just fucked up my wrist. I just did that. And then, that wasn't too bad, except for I didn't learn. And so then Monday, so that was Friday, a week ago. And then Monday, I was talking to one of the other coaches, and I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about wrestling again in college, and we'll see. He's like, oh, dude, we got to get you back on the mat, shake some of the dust off. And I was like, oh, yeah, I don't have anything to do today. I'll come grapple a little bit. And he goes, no, it'd be perfect. One of the pros, he's got a fight coming up. His takedown defense is kind of bougie anyway. Come in, you'll help him get ready for his next fight because he's got a good wrestler. And I was like, all right, cool. Let me get the dust off. We're doing live takedowns, and I'm feeling good and strong, and I feel like Superman. And then we're doing round after round after round, and at one point I go for a sprawl, and my hand is on the fucking floor, and this guy just sprawls super heavy. Good job, proper sprawl, and lands right on my fucking shoulder. I tweaked it so bad I'm gonna shit this week. This whole week's been a complete waste because I didn't learn my lesson enough on Friday. I had to make it worse on Monday.
Yeah, but I feel like that's at least like a semi-decent story. You happen in a ring, in a semi-combat type situation. Here's one for you. I'm gonna up the ante. One time, I hurt my my elbow because I got peer pressured in arm wrestling a 75-year-old Indonesian man. He fucked me up.
Well, that's still a pretty cool story that I messed up my elbow arm wrestling a 75-year-old Indonesian man.
I'm at a birthday and they're all drunk and arm wrestling. It's all these old Indonesian guys. My buddy's birthday, and they're all arm wrestling out in the living room. I'm about to leave. I just kind of like, hey guys, see you later. And they're like, oh muscle you, and I was like, I'm good. I don't. Like this, I'm not gonna, there's nothing for me to prove. Like, if I win, cool, I won, and if I lose, then it's bad. So they're like, oh, no, you do. I was like, no, I'm fine. Oh, you do? No, I'm fine. Okay, fine, here we go. Bam! My elbow was messed up for 2 months. I couldn't train.
I know better on that one. I suck at arm wrestling. I'm never gonna try again.
I'll never arm wrestle a day again in my life.
No thanks.
Well, it is that thing also of, I think that when you start to have some moderate success in the sport, if you start having success and you start getting your stride, you're like, you start to get that kind of like, I'm Superman, I can do everything kind of attitude, and then you start doing something that's, like, I've done this so many times where it's like, oh, I can do that, like, watch me do this, and I start doing something, and then halfway through it, I'm like, this was a mistake.
Like, I totally picture you at your house watching like an infomercial on 6 Minute Abs and be like, oh yeah. I can do this shit.
I do. I sit at home and I watch. I just sit there eating ice cream while I watch P90X.
Chuck
You
Norris doesn't got
you
shit
should have
on
a
me.
plank challenge while he does his juice cleanse.
Yes, you can stand on my back while I'm doing your juice, and I'll just be like, yes.
Doing your juice.
That'll be a whole
Oh.
episode.
Oh. Anyways.
That's some shit for 9 rounds. This gym.
No, I'm the opposite, man. The more success that I'm having and the further I go, the more I think about I won one championship. Well, what do you do next? Well, I gotta win another one, right? Well, what happens if you win that one? Well, I want to win another one. And I mean, honestly, I'll be completely candid that it's actually kind of paralyzing because I'm too afraid to go out and do other stuff because I don't want to take another risk. Like I don't want to be that idiot who blows his knee out playing racquetball with an old man.
Like how much? I mean, that's got to change like almost everything you do. Then
it does.
To have to worry about just walking down our stairs. I mean, that has to be in the back of you guys' mind that there's a potential. Everything is a potential career ender.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I used to do that I don't do anymore. It's like wrestling, like kickboxing, like skateboarding. I mean, we went to Maui and recently, and the whole time I was like, man, I really want to surf. God, I want to surf so bad. I gotta go surf. And then in the back of my mind the whole time I was like, God damn it, if I get hurt though. I ended up getting hurt snorkeling, of course.
Hold on.
Not important.
No. How do you get hurt snorkeling? You're dog paddling in the water, right?
Basically. If you're doing it right. Oh man, it was so dumb. It was my first time snorkeling. It's me and my girlfriend and her dad, and they're like, hey, you want to go snorkeling? Yeah, cool, all right. And they fucking jump in and, off they go. And they're like, yeah, you just put the mask on and breathe. I'm like, okay, whatever. And so it's my first time. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. He picked this nasty little spot in a cove with a bunch of rocks and tide was shitty. And we jump in. And the first thing I feel when I jump in the water is like, oh, man, my flipper feels kind of loose. So I go down to tighten it up. And when I went and pulled on it to tighten it, the whole thing just came off. And I was like, oh, son of a bitch. That's her dad's stuff. Like, they own that. I'm like, God damn it, I just lost that flipper. It just came off my foot and it went away. And so before I even tried to take a breath with this mask on, I dove underwater to go find that fucking flipper. I'm under there for a couple seconds looking for this thing. I was like, God damn it, I need to breathe. And you're trying to breathe through your nose because that's natural, but you can't because there's a mask on it. So then you start panicking and then you're like, oh yeah, I've got the straw, I'm supposed to breathe through my mouth. And so what's the first thing you do? You gasp for air and you suck in super, super hard to... Well, you're underwater, dumbass. The fucking water's gonna come through the straw. Oh my god. So then all this freaking seawater came into my mouth and I was like, screw that flipper. And I jumped up to go get some air. And as soon as I came up, I got smacked by a wave and went straight into a rock. I was like, completely bewildered. And I dove back down to get that fucking flipper. The whole time I didn't know it was broken. If I knew it was broken, I would have just left it. Get the flipper, come back up. I get hit by another wave. And I'm trying to just like calm the whole situation down, so I'm trying to grab onto something for support, and without looking, I put my hand on a giant thing of coral and grab onto it aggressively, and I was like, God, this was in like 3 minutes of me being in the water.
Wow. The best snorkeling trip ever.
This was like the Chevy Chase movies, like the vacation movies. I totally see Chevy Chase doing all this shit.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's like when I tried to learn how to surf, because I'm from San Diego, so everybody down there surfs. I never did. I snowboarded for some reason. That made sense. So by the beach definitely. And then go to the mountains. But I don't know. So I got there and I was like, all right, guys, like I wanna do this. Like I want to learn how to surf. They're like, okay, well we've got a longboard with us. It'll be a perfect day for you to learn. We're out there and they're like, all right, so you know snowboarding, right? They're like, yeah. It's like this is kind of like that. The longboard's easier than the shortboard, so basically you just go out there and you wait for the wave and then you stand up and then you're cool.
Just pop up.
Yeah, and they never, like I never had that beach scene where like you're laying in the sand and like you're practicing. They never did that for me.
Do less.
And so they just send me out. Nobody came out there, so I was like, I'm paddling out there. I was like, I look pretty good. Like this waxy shit doesn't feel good on my chest, but whatever. And I turn around, wave comes. I missed it. I was like, okay. So I turn back around and start paddling back out. Then I get flipped over backwards because I don't know how to tote under the wave. I was like, this is getting a little bit frustrating. Do it again, get rolled again, come on out. I was like, all right, there's the wave. That will be the one that I ride. So I turn around and I start paddling. And then they didn't tell me you have to paddle fast and like make sure that you get it at the right time. So I go up, I get rolled, I get smashed in the face with the longboard. And then I have to go search for it. I split my whole like mouth and nose open. I come back in, I walk in, I've got blood coming down my face, I throw the board, I was like, fuck you guys, this is
that
stupid.
went well.
I like to know how you're upset that they didn't tell you to paddle fast. That's like if we went into the gym to like bench press and you said you didn't tell me to lift hard, so I would just drop the bench like, oh, I'm supposed to lift hard. Oh.
Didn't you drop 135 on yourself?
Damn.
Because I'm pretty sure I was there for that.
It was close.
It's a slingshot negative.
So, I guess talking about and kind of being paranoid about getting injured and stuff, do you find that your motivation or like your passion for training is different now that you've kind of gotten to the top and you have to maintain it versus kind of being an underdog, so to speak, and working your way up?
No, not really. I still kind of feel like an underdog, honestly. I mean, it kind of baffles me when I look at the other competitors because they come in way bigger and way stronger than me. Like, holy shit. Like, I feel like I look at their gym lifts and I'm like blown away constantly by what these guys can do. I can't even come close to that. And I don't know if it's just they like shit the bed on comp day. I don't know if they just have terrible programming. They can't peak for crap. I don't know what it is, but I mean, I still think I'm considerably weaker than most of the guys in the top 10, in my opinion. But
I've never done a strongman competition or really strongman lifts just because, but I would imagine that with your athletic background, that really assists you quite a bit versus somebody who maybe just decided, hey, in high school I'm going to start powerlifting, I'm going to get as strong as I can. I'd imagine your wrestling background really helps make you a little more agile.
A little bit, but I mean, I don't know. I was never really that athletic, though. I wasn't like an athletic freak.
Well, I guess based on your snorkeling story.
No, I wrestled because I was like a little punk in high school. I was a punk. I would skateboard and get into trouble and wrestle to just whoop on people, not because I was athletic. Otherwise, I would have actually done other sports.
Sure.
But that's all I did. All I did was wrestle. And no, I think what made my transition to strongman so good was because I was with people like Chris and Sarge and Higa and Zach, and then I went out and just learned everything I could for programming and technique. I mean, I tell people this all the time. I win because I'm just technically way more efficient than you guys, and because my programming's better. Plain and simple. Like, you guys don't peak well at all.
Yeah.
So, what does your programming look like?
Depends on the contest. The events for nationals just got posted yesterday. Yeah. We can talk about all kinds of programming for that without giving too much away, because then I really won't make any money.
You got to write an ebook to make money off it first, dude, and then you can tell people about your secrets.
That's something I've been talking about with Zach forever. We've been wanting to write a book for so long. We did actually finish. We did a video course series, which is coming out August. I don't know if it's mid-August, late August, but it's coming out in August for sure. It'll be a live video course. That'll be freaking sweet. It's we've got the best camera guys and crews for that stuff, so it looks really, really sharp, and really high quality stuff. And basically, you.
It's no chalk talk.
Yeah. Sorry,
we weren't in an attic. But no, I mean, we made I'm really proud of this product. Like, it's freaking sweet. And it covers what we call like the fundamentals of strongman. We're gonna cover, it's 5 different lifts, 5 different events, but we go into like 5 variations of technique for each one. We go into like how to build equipment if you don't have it, where to get equipment, how to program it, how to incorporate it in your training. Do you do it on like the weekend splits, or do you integrate it with your training? Like, we covered everything. And so there's probably like, I don't know, the course probably has like 15 to 20 modules. Each module is 25 minutes.
Wow.
So like, there's a lot of stuff in there.
A lot of information.
Oh yeah, tons. And so, I mean,
how would people find that?
I'll give you guys a link when I get a link, and you guys can post it on this, and I'll be posting it everywhere, but it will be on 8weeksout.com, the number 8weeksout.com, and it's, we launched the first couple of video series. This is the company that I work for, by the way, the website. So we launched the first 3 series, and just Tuesday, actually. So there's some good ones. It's one's about physical preparation for sport, and so they brought in Buddy Morris. He's probably, I'd say he was like the first physical preparation coach in the NFL. Like, as far as like a strength coach for an NFL team, I think Buddy Morris was one of the first ones. And so he's awesome. He's actually a strength coach with the Arizona Cardinals right now. So we did a video course with him. My boss did one on conditioning for sport. Eva Tordonkin did one for, she calls it MDME. It's
Isn't that the initials for like ecstasy or
That's
something?
MDMA.
Yeah.
Oh.
Close. I know. Not quite as cool
Calm
as that.
down.
Let's do this.
Man, what's it? Minimum dose, maximum effectiveness, which is essentially what everybody's shooting for in the first place. She's trying to, actually help you map it out and stuff. But she was like a Olympic slalom skier and cross country skier or something. Like she's smart. So the video courses are already up. We put 3 of them up there. Zach and I did one for Strongman that'll be out in August, and we also did one with Brian Carroll.
Oh, yeah.
So he did one for powerlifting and his 10-20 life system that will get launched with ours in August. So that'll be kind of cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Brian's a super good guy.
Yeah, he's pretty
Super
cool.
good guy.
I mean, we only talked over the phone a couple times. I don't know him that well, but he seemed pretty cool, and I read his book. Seemed pretty solid stuff.
He'll be in town here not too long.
Yeah. We hung out actually at the airport a couple of years back. We were both going in separate directions, leaving the Arnold, and so we just got to sit down for 45 minutes and pick each other's brains. And super nice guy. I mean, we definitely didn't run out of stuff to talk about. We got to the spot where it's like we're walking away from each other trying to go to our flights, still talking. Super good guy. I really like Brian. He's doing a lot for the sport of powerlifting and geared lifters. And
Yeah, I think he's had a pretty sweet little resurgent back. Like, I mean, there was a little while where he had a really bad injury and he was out for a little while, right?
yeah.
But man, like since he came back, and I mean, not saying that I'm not taking any credit for anything that he's done recently, but I've only known him since we've started working with him. So since we've started working with him, and I've actually been paying attention, like that guy's fucking killing it. Good for him.
Yeah.
Blowing my mind.
Yeah, he is doing good.
So when it comes to your, I was just jumping back on that as we were talking about the national events coming out and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So
We did get distracted there for a second.
yeah.
My bad. I plugged a product.
No, it's fine. I'm actually looking forward to it. I'm excited for it now. I'm gonna watch all your video modules and everything.
They're good,
and
man.
Go crazy on it.
You'll get to see a much smaller version of me because we actually filmed it like a year and a half ago.
Well, I remember because I
Really
was
wild.
I was on there a long time ago when you guys were you and Zach did a couple like little videos or something.
Right. You remember those
Yeah.
first 3 that came out?
Yeah.
Okay, so
And
we
then
thought
it
that
just
we
stopped
were
and
we thought we were going to be launched. The only reason why we posted those first 3 was supposed to
Yeah.
be like a build up interest kind of thing, and like we'll put out these first 3, we'll build up, generate some interest, and then we'll hit them with a big thing, and then it's like, well, no, we're going to wait till everybody's video courses are done and launch them all at the same time, which now we're still not even doing. So whatever. Neither here nor there, but I did not plan this well at all.
But I'm definitely planning on watching it and trying to learn as much as I can from you guys because you guys are both pretty good.
Dude, Zach busts out some funky techniques.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much difference. They work, but I mean,
So when it comes
you learn
to
something.
how long do you try to like sit down and think about your training? How far out do you think about for a contest? Speaking of like, let's say nationals, do you start trying to think of, I'm going to be in like a holding pattern of preparing until they release the events. Once they know the events, I'm going to start training for this, trying to peak. Like how long is your kind of training cycle leading into a contest?
For contests like nationals or the Arnold and Worlds, originally I was doing 12. It seemed kind of long. It was working, but like it was just beating me down, especially the first year that I won nationals. It was like 12 weeks of, I think by the end of it, I was doing something like 15 sessions a week. Like I was training each event, and that's when we had 7 events, twice in a week. And it worked, but Christ almighty, I was beat the fuck down, dude. So I changed a couple things. 12 is not something I really do anymore unless if it's for the Arnold, just because the Arnold's so heavy.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not nearly as strong as some of the other guys, so I need an extra couple of weeks just so I can start off so much lighter. I need a longer phase to accumulate before I actually get to that kind of heavy weights. But for nationals, like 8 weeks.
All right.
8 weeks of training plus a deload week, so I guess we're looking at 9.
It's like 8 weeks out.
I know, right?
I
Yeah.
get it now.
And that was not actually anything I had to do with. That was because Joel, my boss, made his reputation off training all the pro fighters, and all of their fight camps are typically 8 weeks to a fight.
Gotcha.
Mine just coincidentally works that way.
And so, I mean, when you're dealing with, because we've got 3 events that first day,
Yeah.
and then 2 events the second day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
Well, I feel like it was 7 events. Then last year it was 6 events. Now this year it's 5 events.
Right.
Can't wait for the year we have only a 3-event show. That'll be so sweet. We'll be in and out
still,
in an hour.
still over 2 days though.
Yeah, right.
So we'll do 2 events the first day, 1 event the second day.
Yeah.
Is it just because of the amount of lifters?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, every year it just gets more and more.
Just growing.
Yeah, there's some. I'm not saying I love it because it's grown the sport and it's clear because you've got so many more athletes showing up to the national championships, which is a good thing. I think that way you really beat the best. But I mean, not to be an ass, but some of them shouldn't be there.
You think some of that comes from like CrossFitters that are in their gym? They're like, you know what? I just want to do something to challenge myself. So I'm gonna do this. You know, it's not like a mud run. You know,
Yeah, no.
But I'm gonna go try a strongman competition to see how I fare. And
Totally. And
you see that in powerlifting all the time.
I mean, it's. Well, I think that's what makes up like a majority of the strongman competitors nowadays. And I'm not butthurt about it. I think it's by all means, come on over. But it's just tough. Like, how do you really separate the qualification standards to get to that show?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's because at the end of the day, I really don't want to compete for 12 hours one day and then another 6 hours the following day.
Right.
Especially when you think about it, even if it is, let's say, 7 events over 2 days, in strongman, you're talking about like 7, maybe 8 minutes worth of total work.
Right.
Yeah.
And a lot of sitting.
For 48 hours?
Yeah.
Fuck. Man.
So, is anybody can go to nationals?
No, you have to qualify, but I mean,
But to qualify to go to nationals, you just have to place first, or depending on the level of contest, you either need to get first or in the top 2 of your contest to qualify for nationals.
Yeah.
So if you go to a show, if I chose to go to a show and there's no one else competing, and it's like, oh cool, I touched all the implements and stuff. Well, I'm the only one here. I qualified for nationals.
Right.
Yeah.
dude, that's how it was for the first couple of years for me. Honestly, I would go to all the contests in Washington and Oregon, and I would always be one of maybe 2 guys in the 175 weight class. Sweet, automatic win.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah. So I mean, I think it's sweet that we've got especially because CrossFit's bringing over a lot of smaller guys that are more my size. It's I think it's awesome because now there's actually people to compete against, but.
You mean whoop up on?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That's what I meant to say.
He's trying to.
No comment.
Yeah. But I mean, so when we're going back to like looking at nationals this year, so you got your 3 events the one day, 2 events the second day. How would you kind of start to break down your training for that? Are you gonna like? I mean, I'm not trying to unleash all of your secrets, but
I keep some stuff to myself.
Right.
This year's going to be a pain in the ass just because I'm in the middle of moving right now and I don't know where I'm moving. I just know I have to be out of my apartment on Monday, so I've got to move into someplace, and then I'll be working in Kirkland till the end of August before school starts. So I'll be training there for the next month. But then after that, I don't have a place to put all my strongman stuff yet. So I have no idea where I'm going to be training, and I have no idea what I'm going to be doing. So this year's programming is going to be like, I'll probably end up writing 3 or 4 programs, honestly, and then depending on the situation, it's like, well, if I have like a perfect case scenario, we'll go with this program. If I'm limited to the stuff I have in like a 100 square foot garage, we're gonna do this plan. If and I'll just kind of.
if I can only do body weight.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, if all I've got's my empty yoke and my empty log, we're gonna do this, and this is gonna suck.
Yeah.
But
Well, and I'm just when you're looking at writing out your training, do you write out the whole cycle?
Yep.
So you just sit down and write out, okay, 8 weeks. Here it is.
Yep.
Here's my whole 8 weeks. This is what I'm doing every single week.
Yep.
And do you train? How often do you train? Do you try to do like 5-6 days a week? Do you try to do it off of just how many sessions you need to do each week, or?
I try and keep track of like the total volume of lifted, so sets, reps, and weights. It's so much easier to do with powerlifting. Strongman gets super convoluted, and it's just a big old mess when you've got stuff like yokes in there. Like, well, where does that really fall into place? But I try and manage the total volume of load, and then I will start off quite a bit lighter and quite a bit less frequent, and then I'll build up more volume, more frequency as I go through, and then I'll actually taper off the volume and frequency for the last like 2 or 3 weeks.
So you kind of like peak on your volume and how you're doing it in your consistency and all that stuff as you're like, let's say 6 weeks out, and then start to taper down.
Yeah, exactly. So the first like 6 weeks, it's like ramping up the weights and the volume and the frequency of training.
Yeah.
Like I'll probably start off honestly with like 3 or 4 days a week, and then I'll work up to like 6 days a week.
Okay.
But the days of 14 sessions a week are fucking long gone. None of that stuff. Like 6 sessions will be just fine.
And how long is a session for you, generally speaking?
Depends on the events I'm training for, man. I remember for the Arnold we were training that it was supposed to be a standard bar deadlift, straight into an axle deadlift, straight into a car deadlift. And when you're setting that up and you don't have an actual car deadlift frame, that's, okay, so I'm going to have one bar with plates on it up to 500, an axle with plates on it up to 500, then I have to take 2 bars and put it into the ground with a tire on top with another like 6 plates on it, plus the handles to make it a car simulation. We're talking about, what, 20, 30, 40 or so, 45-pound plates and 4 bars and a tire.
Yeah.
To fucking set all that up and then tear it back down, which, by the way, tearing it back down when you're done with all your sets, it's exhausting. It's worse than a workout, dude. So that, stuff like that takes me fucking hours. When ideally, like, I'd like my session to be, an hour and a half, get in and get the hell out. But some of those sessions take like 3 hours just because of setup. Which, again, is something I really like about powerlifting. Is one goddamn bar.
Well, I have to agree with you. I've talked about that all the time, that it sucks when you're like, okay, I'm going to be training doing my 1,000-pound yokes or something, and I'll run a few, and I'll do like yokes and sled drags and stuff. I'm like, all right, that was fun. And then I'm laying on the ground gasping for air, like I can't stand up right now.
And you have to rack 1,000
Oh
pounds
boy,
of
I
weight.
get to put it all away.
Yeah.
This is going to be fun.
What I do is I always fake an injury after I'm done benching. Like, oh man, I think I pulled something, my shoulder hurts, and
I
then
think I've
everybody,
seen this one before.
I've actually seen it
everybody's
too.
like, oh, I'll get it. No, just sit down.
I've
Relax.
actually been the guy who said, I've got it for you.
Yeah, and then I sit down and start drinking my protein shake. I giggle a little bit. You guys are stupid.
Patrick Larson press.
Yeah, right? So now you can just, well, I mean, come on, that's what you got to start doing now, is just like get more people into your gym and just be like,
Yeah,
ah.
I train alone all the time. My gym's always empty.
Yeah, you gotta bring some people in and say, hey, I'm training you for free, unload this shit.
Well, and just start out when you get that first person in there, you just start having them do all your loading and unloading. Just be like, okay, you just need to learn how to move weight and start feeling...
That's the beginner step of walking into a gym, is learning how to load properly. That's how you
Like
sell
initiation.
it. Yeah. I'm going to save you $50 on an ebook, and I'm going to show you how to do it.
Or we should make a $50 ebook.
I was going to say we should write that book.
Yeah.
That's right.
We should write that book.
How to properly apply collars.
Well, I think that
I can sell that. I know at least 3 people I can sell that
Somebody's
to.
fucked that up. You know?
Yeah, then that's what I was just sitting here like, oh my gosh, that actually would be a good book. Or like how to spot. And
How to not kill your friends.
Yeah.
How to not deadlift with a $500 fucking squat bar.
So
$4 shoes.
So when we're back to like your programming here,
135
as we're jumping all over the
Sure,
place,
yeah.
when going into this nationals, are you going to try to? Do you mix your events in as you're training, or do you have specific event days?
Right now it's integrated, just because I have that convenience.
Yeah.
I think it's better, honestly. Tons of people have had great success with like event days. It's typically on the Saturday, but that's, the advantage of that is that that's typically when you get like the 6 guys that train together come in for an event day on Saturday. So I could see the advantages with that, but training wise, I mean, I love the integrated stuff. Like,
You feel like you can maximize recovery better by kind of sprinkling the events in with the rest of your training?
well, kind of the other way around. More like I can hammer my events training, and then I don't have to go to a separate gym or whatever. I'm right there, so I can do a ton of log pressing, and that'll be my main event training, and then I can supplement it with some like dumbbell incline or whatever, and then some triceps and call it a day or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's
then
just
do your curls.
Exactly, yeah. So
You have like any kind of ritual before your training sessions, or maybe a competition of like things you always do? Maybe there's like specific videos you watch or songs you have to listen to, or you smack yourself in the face,
nope. I honestly
rub one out. I mean, what do you do to like really get yourself psyched up for like training or
Just about a gram of coke and I'm good. Just a fat rail and I'm done.
Easy.
No, I kind of got rid of all that stuff because the more I thought about it, I was like, that's just too many factors that could go wrong, and I just don't want to deal with that. Like, come comp day, I want to have as much control as possible, but as little responsibility as possible, and that should be less stress. So I don't want to worry about, like, is my iPod charged because I need to listen to my jam before every fucking, every event I got to hear that song or watch that video. Like, I don't want to deal with that, and then like
listen to my Iggy Azalea.
Yeah, right. And there's the guys that like, oh, I'm gonna hit my gym lift PR. I gotta go change the music. I'm like, are you gonna have control of the music at the meet? No. Then shut the
I
fuck
totally
up,
used to be one of those guys.
Dude, I've gotten really, really good. One of the guys that trains in the gym, he owns his own company. He rents space from the facility. Awesome guy. I love this dude. Donnie Matiaki. Big Tongan. Plays Islander music all the time. Not particularly awesome to lift heavy to. It makes me want to like lay on the beach, drink some pineapple rum concoction, and like smoke a joint and chill out. But if you can get yourself to get amped up and lift while that stuff's playing, I mean, you can lift anywhere.
You do it, yeah.
That's
my
one
first day going over to Dog Pound. I met Sammy Amavaya, and he was in there. I think he benched, was doing a board or something, he benched like 860 for a triple. And this is my first time actually training with somebody that's not myself. So I was like, oh, I'm going to go train with powerlifters. This is going to be great. I'm going to be a powerlifter now. This is awesome. I rolled, I was like, what is this reggae? Like, I like reggae, but the same thing. I was like,
Me too. I love music,
so we're seriously lifting to reggae. And I was like, he's seriously going to bench 860. Oh, so okay, so we're going to get 5 other spotters now. Okay. All right, that makes sense, I guess. Maybe I need to listen to reggae because I'm doing something wrong.
Donnie's the exact same way, man. That guy will put up weight, and I'm just blown away.
That's one of the things that I started doing with, like, when I'm coaching my athletes and stuff, is we'll listen to all kinds of random music. I change it up all the time. We've lifted to Disney songs, and we all run around the gym singing Disney songs and stuff. And we'll use nothing but, like, Kesha or Britney Spears and all this stuff.
That's why people make fun
best
of CrossFitters.
The best was
I can show you the world.
the best was
chaos training.
we did it. When I was at my gym before I went to the gym I'm at now, there was one time it was just me and the guy I was training with at the time. Me and my training partner were just there by ourselves, and we're training, and people came into the gym, and we were just going crazy, brutalizing ourselves to nothing but Gregorian chanting. So everybody came into the gym, they're like, I feel like I shouldn't be talking right now. And we're over in the corner screaming and going crazy. And there's just Gregorian chanting playing. Like, I feel like I'm in a church. And I was screaming at everybody. I'm like, you are in a church. You're in the gym. Let's go. And they're like, how do you get psyched up to this? And I was like, you don't have control over music. And if you're always using music and that heavy metal and stuff to get yourself psyched up, you're not learning how to do it just internally, like internalizing it.
It should be your own switch. Like, you should just be able to get yourself amped up and ready to go. Like,
right.
Flip the switch and get to work.
Recently, because I was trying to really mess myself up, so I started training to ebooks.
Oh,
that was a little weird. I threw on an ebook.
I feel like I get distracted.
I threw on an ebook on quantum physics, and I was trying to do my strongman events, and I'd like in between my sets, I'd be sitting there, I'm like, oh okay, yeah. Oh wait, I gotta go lift, and I go back.
Yeah, I would get distracted.
Yeah.
That's what happened. I would do that.
But it still was trying to take it to that next level of really learning to keep my mind focused on what I'm doing and not keep getting distracted by everything around me. Now I'm just going to bring projectors in so I can start throwing movies up on the wall and stuff and just watch movies.
Dude, that would have no hope.
I am never going back to your gym.
I want to see you like watch Old Yeller or something. That way at the end you can just be squatting.
It's just sweat, I swear.
Is that homeward bound, really?
Well, of course. That's how you get the most gains. Like that's how you get ready for nationals.
Sure. Do you have an event that you see when you go up to a competition and you see like, oh, this event's happening? Cool. This is my event. Or you just kind of do the whole
Not so
round?
much anymore. I mean, honestly, that's kind of how I like I said, I got to where I was just because I was consistent across the events. I mean, I always thought I was a good deadlifter, and then the first year that I won nationals, and I mean, it's a car deadlift, so it's kind of bullshit anyway. It's not a fucking real deadlift. It's a leg press, but whatever.
Yeah.
I want a car deadlift then.
Dude, you would be so much better at it than me. It's so dumb, but whatever. I used to think like, yeah, man, deadlifting's my thing for sure. Like, as an aside, I'm gonna digress. I'm gonna come back. The first time I pulled 500, I powerlifted at 148. First time I. Yeah, well. I'm just trying to pull what you bench, dude. It's fucked up. It's really messed up, man. And then I went in and I pulled 600 at 165. So then I was like, okay, well, obviously the next progression is I got to pull 700 at 181.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I was a pretty good deadlifter, and then we get to nationals and we're doing a car deadlift, and people are smoking me like John Alderson and whatever. So I thought I was a deadlifter, but apparently I'm just kind of like the jack of all trades. You're not really great at anything. I'm like the CrossFitter of strongman. Sure. Yeah, I'm like a good strongman that's basically like a CrossFitter. But good.
CrossFitter of life.
I'm not very great at anything. I can kind of do everything sort of well. But then there's definitely events that I look at that and I was like, man, I'm so pissed that's in there. One of them's car deadlift. The other one used to be circus dumbbell, but I've just hammered that into the ground so much that I'm actually pretty good at it now. And log is still God, I hate log. Log clean press sucks. So when they announced...
Well, now...
Yeah, I know, right? So the first event, day one of Nationals, was a log clean and press
For reps.
And our weight's 250. I took second at Worlds on the max log, and I got 265. So if I got that for my max single, and we're doing 250 at Nationals, how many fucking zeros are we gonna say?
I just lay down and start benching it. Fuck you and your rules. I'll do whatever I want.
You said it had to be over my head.
Yeah.
It's like over my head.
That's what I do. Every single event I do, I just lay down and pick it up.
Arson press with the legs out.
Yeah.
A Conan's wheel carry of a yoke.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Stone benches.
But
and then you get the circus dumbbell too. Like that's gonna be good for you.
that's a weird event, dude. Circus dumbbell
And a one-arm
paired
deadlift.
with a one-arm deadlift. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I don't ever know why, but that's kind of just an interesting one.
Is it the same arm?
You can switch. You can do
switch
whatever
arms.
arms.
But the thing, okay, so this is gonna sound super diva, but my biggest concern about that event is what shoes do I wear?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't even. Dang it.
Fuck, right? I don't pull in Oli shoes. Oli
Yeah.
shoes. That's a no-no.
Oh yeah, huh?
But I clean and press everything in my Oli shoes.
Right.
So might have to get used to some
Crocs.
bands.
Get some Crocs.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
I fucking hate
Flip-flops.
Crocs. Oh, fuck, those things are so.
Some Uggs. Get some Uggs.
Crocs are like the Priuses or Prii of the feet.
No, I think Vibrams.
Yeah, you're right.
Think of a guy who drives a Prius. I'm like, that guy's probably wearing Vibrams right now.
Possibly Crocs though.
Maybe Crocs.
So I'm gonna keep my feet under the table.
My
This is gonna get weird.
my other thought on the whole nationals thing is last year there was no stones. This year there's no stones. Like
There wasn't any stones at Worlds.
yeah, what do you think about that? Like
It's too much equipment that you need to bring,
Mhm.
and then you have to deal with tacky.
yeah.
It's just a pain in the ass from a promoter standpoint. It sucks because it's like the trademark strongman event. Like, if you find some random person on the street and you ask them like, "Hey, you ever seen or heard of strongman?"
Yeah,
Look
but
at
they got the big
stones.
rocks.
Oh, that thing on ESPN where they lift up like the really big, like the
Boulders.
big balls, right? I'm like, yeah, the big balls. That's what we do.
Every day.
Every day, listen to big old balls. Now they're called stones, big rocks. But yeah, I think from a promoter standpoint, it's too much equipment to bring, especially like, I mean, when was the last time we did a medley? 3 years ago?
Yeah.
And like that was only 3 stones for each.
Mhm.
So I mean, if it, 3 stones per weight class plus all of the weight to drive it over there,
Right.
then deal with the tacky and the tacky removal and the mess that stuff makes, it's just a pain in the butt. It's a shame, but that's just the truth.
Yeah. But day 2 is you've got the Conan's Conan's on day 1.
Yeah.
And then day 2's you've got the sandbag loading and the what's that one?
Is it the farmers? No, farmers.
Farm. I'm pretty sure it's log, farmers, and the yoke on day 1. So then
Okay,
that
so
would
then
be
day
the
2 is
circus
the circus
dumbbell.
dumbbell deadlift,
Yeah,
and then sandbag.
sandbag. and it's a 30-foot carry for the sandbags. So
To
when
38 inches, so when
yeah,
you
no,
plop that on your lap and
I
you're
know.
done, that's
I'm just gonna
really
have to be
cool.
like this. It's
Yeah.
gonna be fun. But my question for you though is when you're dealing with a 2-day contest, as you get closer to it in your programming, are you gonna start trying to train hard and then train hard the next day to kind of get your body acclimatized, if you will, or accustomed to that kind of?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a couple of years ago, I started doing it so that further out, my training is, the training priority is set around my weaker events. Then as we get closer to the contest, I actually do them in order. So that's one of my big secrets that I'm actually going to share, is I do them in the order that we're going to do them at the show, because how you recover between the events is huge. And so if you, like I remember in some shows, like we had like a 550 deadlift for reps, and then you have to go do stones. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Your back and your
Right.
your whole posterior chain is going to be fried after that.
Right.
And then you have to go load stones. Like if you aren't ready for that, that messes some people up. So that's one of my tips. I actually, the last couple of weeks, I'll do the events in order that you'll have to do in that contest. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because you can get to the contest and they're going to change the event order anyway. So
Yeah.
good luck.
And change the weights too.
And they'll change the weights. They'll take something out. They'll put something else in, and the order's going to be backwards. So
That's the one of the things that when I first was coaching some people that were coming from powerlifting and the strongman, we were going to a contest, and we get there and they're like, this athlete just freaked out at me that they're talking about changing you. I was like, it's strongman. Like, but I've been training for this event. I'm like, it's strongman.
everybody was training for that event.
Right.
Everybody's going to have to do the heavier weight now. Everyone's going to have to do this whatever event.
Right. I remember the one of the first shows I went to, or my first year of competing, I go to a contest, and
This
it
is
was.
going to be a Sarge story. Watch.
It
I already
was.
know. Go
It
ahead.
was.
I totally knew it.
I wasn't going to say it, who it was, but we go to, it was for the West Coast Open.
There you go.
And we go to the West Coast Open, and signing up, I was like, okay, all these weights are like just doable for me. They're all at my maxes, but I think I'll be good. I can do this. We get there, and Sarge is like, well, we're not going as far anymore, so we're just, and this is a higher level contest, so we're adding at least 100 pounds to everything. I was like, son of a bitch. Like, I was like, oh man, I'm hoping I can not zero on everything, and then it's like, we're adding 100 pounds to everything. I was like, oh, damn it. And, you know, I still did all right. You know, I lost to Sean Doyle and Zach McCarley, but...
Yeah, they're freaks.
Those are good people to lose
Those
to.
guys,
Right,
those guys
right.
are both freaks.
But it still was like, you know, it kind of taught me that when you're dealing with strongmen, it's not powerlifting, and it's not like, okay, this is how it's going to be, because you do have the thing of, as you're saying with promoters, you've got to think about what they can bring and how they can transport stuff. So it's not always going to be, these are going to be the events every single time. And even though you get there and it's like, well, the venue changed a little bit now, so now we're going to be running up this hill now with carrying a car on your back while you're dragging, 7 children or something. You know.
Yep.
It's hard to bring all those children in. Sometimes they're covered in tacky. And
I forgot to ask you earlier, what's the deal with you doing push-ups with a sledgehammer?
That's a Grant Higa thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
huh?
I'm really
He was
good
doing
at-
push-ups with the sledgehammer on the ground and one hand up in the air, and he was doing push-ups that way.
Wait, no, it was
Or
invert. It was
maybe-
like this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
Looked like some
Yeah.
Yoda
It was like
shit.
your hand was on the
Yeah.
hammerhead, and
Mhm.
Just on Instagram.
Well, no, it wasn't on the hammerhead. It was off the hammerhead just a little bit. But it was because that morning, this was Wednesday. Grant Higa had tagged me in a post on Instagram of somebody doing that. And so I was like, well, I'm going to do that as soon as I get to the gym. So I walked into the gym, set down my bag, picked up the hammer, and just...
How
I was
hard
like,
was it?
let's video this. And I was like, oh, that's not too bad. That's pretty easy.
Wasn't that hard?
No.
No.
But then we started trying to up the ante and making it stupid.
Oh. Why?
Just because Grant tagged me in something, so I was like, okay, I'm going to go do that. It's mostly just because I like to show up Grant Higa on everything. So.
dude, I wish I could say that. That guy's another one.
Just a monster.
Yeah.
So then he gargles. So you gargle the hammer at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was his own little twist to it.
Yeah.
Right.
Take this, Brent Hager.
But we after that, one of the other coaches started trying to up the ante and go crazy. So he's like, "I'm gonna do handstand push-ups holding a sledgehammer like this," and I was like, "Okay."
Your own.
he didn't get it, but he was really close to getting it, and it was just like. I was trying to figure out a way to try to keep it off the ground, holding it with just one hand and try to do one-handed push-ups with it. And I was like, I'm going to end up hurting myself doing
God,
this.
I wish I was there to like film this shit. Cause I've got
You got freaking
4
Disney
dumb
songs
guys just
playing in
sat
the
around.
background.
Yeah.
Chaos
Use a
train.
sledgehammer, do some cool shit.
We'll get back to questions here, but I want to give you a chance to one-up Zach, because I asked him this question when we interviewed him, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't like his answer.
Okay.
It's a Sunday afternoon, you're not training, what do you do?
Oh yeah, and he said watch other people lift.
Right.
Yeah.
He
Think
gives
about
me the
training.
lifting answer, and you encouraged him and let him give that as an acceptable answer, which kind of pissed me off. Because no, non-lifting related. You're chilling, you're doing your thing. What is it that you do?
Searching
Okay.
for Batum jerseys.
Google Third World Girls Gone Wild.
I don't watch other people lift. I actually don't even really watch other people lift in general. I'm notorious for being that guy on Instagram that you follow me and I don't follow you back just because I don't want to watch you, because then I'm thinking about
Well, thanks
what
for
you're
following
doing.
me the other day.
Yeah, you're lucky.
I
Well, you're also
appreciate
not in my weight class. This mostly goes for people like This is a general rule of thumb. If you're another 175-pounder out there and I'm not following you on Instagram, it's because I don't want to think about what you're doing, because I just don't even want to play those head games. So don't feel bad. Take it as a compliment. On my free time, I'm not really trying to watch other people lift. It's kind of hard not to because of just social media is just like you just get barraged with that shit constantly on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And so you can't really open the phone and not see it. I'm not trying to do it. It just happens.
Sure.
My free time, I'm like a movie buff, I think. Like I will just run through movies like crazy. And then for whatever reason, I can retain information from movies like nobody's business. I can quote movies galore. I swear there was a point in my life where my little brother and I could probably sit down together and rewrite the whole script to Wedding Crashers by ourselves.
So what's your favorite movie?
Oh, that's a dumb question. Oh, man.
Just one. If you had to pick one right now for us all to sit down and watch, what would you pick?
I would try and pick one that you guys probably haven't seen that I thought was really, really good. Shit. I don't remember what it's called.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, you were getting a lot of information.
Yeah, this one was a Trance. It's called Trance. Check out Trance. That one's a good one. It's kind of a bit of a mind fuck.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun because you think you got it, and then you get to the end, and you're just like the movie Seven. When you get to the end of that movie,
Yeah.
you're like, oh fuck.
I get it.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Like you think you got it, and then you get to the end, and the only thing you can say is, "Son of a bitch."
Yeah.
It's a good one. It's got the guy who plays the young Professor X.
Oh,
James McAvoy.
Yep,
Yeah.
James McAvoy. It's got the girl from. I'm going to use comic references because I know you guys will get them. It's got the girl from Daredevil.
the
TV show?
Yeah,
or-
TV show.
okay.
Not Electra.
yeah.
Not Jennifer Garner. The
Rosario Dawson.
bingo,
Yeah.
Rosario Dawson. So
See,
it's
we
got,
should have been talking movies earlier, because then you and I
we
would've
can
been just
we can
fine.
go all the, see when we sat down before the camera started rolling. You guys were talking about like we want to talk about nerdy stuff and we want to talk about sports. Like I can go all day on both.
My suggestion is you start watching movies on snorkeling. I spend a Sunday just watching snorkeling videos.
You know what? We're gonna come back to that question. I got better, honestly. I got it by like my second and third try. I was doing it. The problem is I haven't done any cardio for like a year and a half, and I've gained like 20 fucking pounds. And you stick me in the water, and I have to swim, and I have to breathe through a fucking straw.
Right, no, I get it.
Holy shit! That was so hard. I could do it for like 10 minutes. I had to take a break.
Yeah.
Completely out of breath because you're
Good
trying to
shit.
catch your breath, but you're breathing through a straw.
So they're-
Fuck that. Fuck snorkeling. I saw the turtles. I'm good.
You just float. That's what I do. Fuck swimming.
You
Don't
don't
float, bro. I
I float.
sink.
I don't float at all.
I-
I don't float. It's too much work to try and not
See, you
die.
guys gotta be
swimming.
fatter. I float like nobody's business. It's no problem.
Buoyancy.
Yeah, who needs that?
It's this muscle mass thing that I don't have.
Yeah.
But
So,
yeah.
as a movie buff, then, kind of nerdy, ultimate question that everyone's been talking about.
Yep.
Jared Leto as the Joker for this Suicide Squad. We finally got to see a little piece of him in the trailer.
Yeah.
What do you think?
There was like a series where the Joker was like, he was already crazy enough, but then he went like way the fuck off his rocker, and that's kind of the Joker that they're trying to portray. So it actually does kind of look like that guy. I haven't seen any of the acting. I just from what I saw, yeah, exactly. From what I saw of like the costume that they're doing for him, it kind of looks like that. This one series that I have in mind, but I mean, you know, I grew up as like a little '90s kid, dude. I think of like the Joker in like the fucking purple pinkish suit with the big hat, you know. So for me, when Jack Nicholson did the Joker, that was spot on the Joker I grew up watching cartoons. So that's what I thought. Even like Heath Ledger killed it. Right. Like awesome Joker, just not the Joker I grew up on. So.
That was the big thing. Like, I think the only reason like Heath Ledger worked was because he was so different than Jack Nicholson.
Well, and that's
what makes me excited for this is Jared Leto is so different than what Heath Ledger was that could work. You know, I'm not quite sold. I like the look of it. I wasn't 100% sold on his laugh though. The delay. I wasn't quite feeling that yet, but I'm gonna give it a chance because you gotta wait till it's in.
Well, that's the same thing that I was thinking too. Like in terms of the freak out about it and stuff. If he had done the straight up Jack Nicholson Joker, or he'd done the straight up Heath Ledger Joker, and it was like trying to bring that same character back to life, then the fanboys would all freak out because they're like, "You're not Heath Ledger, bro, and you're not Jack Nicholson."
Because then they've got a measuring stick, and you're not going to win.
And so I think taking it the whole different kind of route, I think is the way to go, which is going to be the most potential to have the most success.
Yeah, you got to do it your own way.
Right.
You got it.
I know we're running out of time, and these two are getting bored with the nerd talk. But I'm going to recommend a movie to you guys. Then there's a movie I watched recently. It's a couple years old. It's called Attack the Block.
It's great.
It's a British movie about aliens that attack like teenagers. Very similar to the Cornetto Trio, which is like Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, the Shaun of the Dead guys. Has that same feel. Nick Frost is actually in the movie. Oh, cool. I recommend checking that one out. It's great. It's on YouTube for free. You can watch it on there.
I took my kids to the Minion movie.
Minions? Yeah, I heard
it was actually funny. It's actually really funny. I fell asleep in the middle of it, but it was funny.
Well, that's because
I want to check that out.
You were just so fat.
Yeah. I started eating popcorn, carbs went up. I'm like, I'm out. Catabolic.
Patrick, we want to make sure you get any plugs in that you need. You know, where can people find you at? What's going on? Besides, I mean, we know you don't have sponsors to plug, so some people should be getting on that for him. But
that means you, both of you watchers.
The two of you. I got a PayPal. Actually, that was one of the things I kind of wanted. I told Jeff originally, like, I can come on this show and I've got tons of stuff I can bitch about. And so I'm going to bitch about one of them.
Go for it, dude.
While we're talking about plugging sponsors. Let's get completely candid here. Something that really, really pisses me right off, and I think you guys can say this about any of like the lifting sports, is like, yeah, there's the guys who are like super famous, they're getting sponsors, they're making some money, it's good, blah blah, good for them. How many of like actual strength athletes are making a living off of this? And I'm talking like from competing. Mark Bell's slingshot line, like he's making money off slingshot, not him as a lifter getting sponsored to go do events and compete. How many guys are actually getting paid? Like,
not very many.
Not many, right? And so, like I said before, I never got into any of this because I wanted to make money. Especially not strongman. If I wanted to make money, I'd do like powerlifting and Highland Games, and that's it.
I'd stay away from powerlifting still.
No, dude, they pay out a lot better than strongman.
I just do CrossFit.
Yeah, I don't have that much energy.
It's crazy. I don't know.
But
it's crazy.
I mean, so I came up from that school of thought. Like I said, I got into strongman through Sarge, and so like that was like, you know, the good old boys, the old school way, where like you go, you compete, you have a good time, and when you're done, you and all the competitors get fucking hammered.
Right.
And I've heard amazing stories. Like I've missed that shit so much that you just don't see that anymore, especially in strongman.
That's what my team always does. We compete and then we get drunk.
Yeah, but I mean, like I'm saying, like the whole like.
Yeah, I know.
We just did a
big thing.
That was kind of one of the things. We just did a Lift for Autism where we hosted just kind of a push-pull meet and raised money for autism awareness. And afterwards, we had like a little after party, and only probably about a third of the lifters actually showed up. But it was kind of cool. Like, we all sat at a big table. We all talked shit. We were making fun of each other. And it was a lot of fun. It's definitely something that is lacking in this sport.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I like to go to competitions, and as soon as I'm done lifting, I like to leave. It's just kind of something I do. But when I go and put on a meet or go there to help people or cheer them on, you know, I think doing those kinds of things I think it's really important.
Totally. I think especially if you're one of the guys that's been around longer and you're a lot more experienced, one of the best times I've had recently, I went to South Carolina for the Sore Neck Summer Strong, and like the whole weekend, the whole conference was awesome. The speakers were great. Like, Sore Necks did a fucking awesome job with that. But you know what the best part of that weekend was? It wasn't even like the Q&A was solid too, but then after, on like that Saturday night, they rented out a brewery, brought over a bunch of like Sore Neck strength equipment to like mess around with some lawn games and stuff, and then we had dinner catered for us and all the beer we could drink.
Wow.
And then there's guys like, oh, there's Derek Poundstone, oh, there's Chad Smith, there's Brandon Lilly, there's Jeff Nichols, like all these awesome dudes you can just go have a beer with and pick their fucking brain. That was awesome. Like, and then there's always some debauchery involved because there's drinking, and it's fucking fun.
Most promoters, though, are looking to fill their wallet, you know, not try to help out. And that's what's frustrating. You see these guys that make 10 or 12 grand off a meet, and like doing something like that. Doing something like that wouldn't cost very much money, and it would up the morale so much. It would make people want to come back. And
totally, I want to go back to Summer Strong. I don't even know who's speaking next year, but I already know I'm gonna go because that alone made it worth it. So then my big issue going all the way back around is now, so these companies are actually giving some sponsorships to these people who, quite frankly, suck. They're nobodies. They're nobodies in the sport, but they have these ridiculous followings on social media. Yep. They put out crap information anyway. The goddamn techniques they put out there and advice they give is just completely bastardized. So they're I mean, I applaud them for trying to help. I believe they have, like, you know, I believe that they're genuine and they have, like, the people's best interest at heart, and they want to help. But god damn it, you're just ignorant. You don't even know you're stupid. And then people are fucking sponsoring them because they've got huge followings, and I was always from that old school thought where, like, no, you put in the work, you go, you whoop ass, you win, you'll get your recognition when, you know,
when you earn it.
When you earn it, right? Like, it'll come. Man, I'll tell you, dude, I think I'm pretty good. I've won a little.
That's the problem is, you know, you see some of these big time lifters and you see all the shit they put on like social media and Instagram, YouTube, and all these videos, and you're like, man, this guy's awesome. And then you meet him and you're really let down. Yeah. Because you're like, oh, you live in the basement of your grandma's house, and you're kind of a shithead, and oh man, never mind. You know,
exactly.
They only put out there what they want you to see, and they have all the free time to do it.
I don't know how you don't have more sponsors in Strongman. I mean, don't take this the wrong way, Jeff, but in compare, like, you have this little more suave of a look, and I mean, you don't got the man bun with the evil beard screaming at people as the villain.
It's going up. If it's gonna get me sponsors, it's going up. I'm selling out.
Man bun engaged.
It's time to get money.
Because that's what you got to do to get sponsors. Just do the man bun.
How's that working for you?
So good.
Dude, yeah, it's weird. It's messed up. Like, I wish so much that this industry could turn around, but I just don't see it happening anytime soon.
Wrong people are steering the bus.
Yeah, man. And people are getting on the bus though, drinking the Kool-Aid.
So you need to get more famous on Instagram.
It's like what we talked about with the during when we were How to Fix Powerlifting. That whole thing of people are going to vote by spending their money.
Yeah.
And the more that people are like, oh, this guy's got a huge following and this guy's cool and I'm going to throw money at him and I'm going to buy their ebooks and the stuff they're releasing might not be the best stuff out there, but it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to spend all my money at this, which you're now encouraging those people to do that because it's like, oh, if I just sit in the basement of my parents' house and sit there all day just typing on a computer, I can be popular too, and I can get sponsored.
Yeah, it's messed up, but I mean, and you know the thing is now too is there's so many damn companies out there like in the fitness industry. Anybody can make their own supplement line.
They're making millions and millions
and
of dollars.
They're making money, and then like I'll be honest, I've been approached a couple times, like very few, to be like, oh, we'd like to offer you a sponsorship and whatever. I'm like, okay. To me, a sponsorship should be a mutually beneficial relationship. Like, if you're not getting something from me, then you got to tell me, like, what do you want from me?
Right.
And I'll tell you what I want from you, and then, like, let's make something work. And these people were like, well, we want you to, like, add all these hashtags to all your posts. You have to post at least once or twice a day. You have to be wearing our stuff in all your posts. So we'll give you a free T-shirt, and then we're going to give you a discount on our supplements. Right. Are you fucking kidding?
You're going to do all this work
I'm going to do all that
for
shit, and I
25%
still
off.
have to pay for your stuff?
Right.
Like, one company was blasting me about that, and I was like, no, I personally am not the kind of guy that's going to go and rep your stuff when I haven't even tried it. Like, they're like, just start doing it now. We'll send you over some stuff once you pay for it.
It'd be different if it was like
what?
Gatorade or Nike that asked you to do something like that. That's big, legitimate companies that'll down the road pay you. But the most you're going to get out of a small supplement company is
a discount and a free T-shirt.
Yeah. Well, what does that matter?
I'm not selling my soul for that. Like,
No.
if my name's going on it, it's going to
You
hold
want
some
it to-
value.
right.
Like, I'm not a guy that's just going to put it on whatever and just be like, oh yeah, this is the best shit ever.
I'll give you a free Chalk Talk T-shirt.
I'll wear that though because I actually know I know what it's about. I know like the message behind it. I know the guys who do it. Like, that makes sense to me. But like some random company that I've never heard of, I have no idea what your interest is or where you're trying to go with it, the message behind it, and not to mention I've never tried it. Well, I'm not gonna fucking say you're the best supplement ever because you want me to.
You got a free T-shirt though.
I don't give a shit. We were talking about this. I've got enough free T-shirts.
Yeah.
Way too many. So, yeah, the social media stuff is just.
Well, and then too, if you're a good-looking female in a sports bra and spandex, it's so much easier. It's so much easier for them to get sponsored, versus somebody.
Start with some Lulu shorts. You got it, man, bud.
I gotta get on that because those girls are killing it. I'll
Yeah.
be honest, because I'm following them too. Damn it, the girls kill it on Instagram.
Yep.
He's like, man, wall balls
Glute
seem like
progress
legitimate
pic.
exercise now.
Yeah, I'm not actually going to do any of the stuff they're talking about. I'm not stupid enough to try like a juicing cleanse or whatever.
Weird.
But
the other part too is you can just tell I'm the only one here who lives in Portland because I did the juice cleanse. That makes it a little more obvious that I'm the Portlander.
No,
we gotta
we're
figure
like
out-
2 seconds from Lake Oswego. Everyone around here juice cleanses.
I need to figure out how to get you into Curves. Like, we need to seriously get you a membership at Curves and have you do that for a month.
I mean,
30
I'm
seconds,
on
you
board if we can get me in. But
Yeah, I'll get you in.
Cool, let's do it.
before and after pics for
Yep.
sure.
Glute progress.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I don't know. I think I got a pretty good glue so far. But
You're supposed to have 2 of them. So.
well, anatomy's not
It's
my
like
thing.
I've got an ab.
Yeah. Well, there's my little rant for the day. I feel
So
bad.
how do we get a hold of you after the show?
Google Pat the Cannon Castelli or Patrick. You can go to cannoncastelli.com. CANNONCASTELLI. Yeah, well, because there's Canon, that company with one N, which
Yeah, the cameras.
2 N's.
Wait, how was it spelled?
So you should be like Canon, like
And they do it from the crotch region, so it looks better.
Canon, like.
I'm just getting ready to play Scrabble, so I'm one.
Right. So good. Twitter and Instagram is the same. P Cannon Castelli. Facebook athlete page. Look me up. I try and post stuff. Like I said, I just don't like the social media game, but I try and keep up with Jeff. That's it.
It's hard.
It's hard.
Man, I have like one day where after I see him post, I'm like, oh, I'm really loving it. I do one day where I drop like 8 pictures, and then I wait like 2-3 weeks before I put it
My only idea that I can come up with that'll actually make this work, because I just don't fucking train that much, is that I'm going to have to start bringing like 4 different outfits to the gym and get in the same workout, me wearing 4 different things. That way I can just reuse those pictures like 8 times.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you get like Throwback Thursday, so you can always just be like, well, this was me from last week, and this is me.
So I go on Instagram and I say, hey, if you follow Chalk Talk, just repost one of your favorite pictures and you'll win something. And so the next morning,
nobody's won because nobody's answered.
So the next morning I wake up and I have 24 pictures I was tagged. I'm like, oh my gosh, well, let's check it out. Oh, 19 of them are Jeff. Yeah.
Yes.
So we got 5 winners.
That's awesome.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
It makes you feel good, though, right?
Yeah.
I'll just start tagging you and everything.
I felt important.
Solid. Yeah, well, that's pretty much it. Find me Facebook, Twitter,
What's your competition schedule like this year? Like, what are you looking to do?
That's none of your business.
This is gonna be.
Alright, so in closing, alright, cool. So, what about your competition schedule?
I just really quick because it was that thing.
Sure.
Just where to find me.
So you can find me August 15th. I'll be at RAB doing the Summer Strength Wars powerlifting at 181, assuming I don't go snorkeling or or racquetball anytime soon. So powerlifting 181, August 15th. 6 weeks later is nationals at 175, so I'll be in Iowa for that. I did see that they're doing like a Canadian National Championships September 19th, so I sent them a message to see if I can come and do that because I do have Canadian citizenship as well. So like, can I get on that? Cause
Hey, you should just come here and compete in the first UPA meet in the state of
UPA
Oregon.
meet sounds way cooler.
Yeah, especially when you described it.
Sounds awesome. So
it's not cool.
maybe.
Canada sucks.
Yeah, it does. Just kidding. So I'd kind of like to do that. I don't know if I can, but if not, whatever. U.S. Nationals October 3rd or whatever that is in Iowa. Then 6 weeks after that, I'm going to go to Norway for the 198 World Championships, and that's going to be like the craziest 6 week bulk ever to go from 75 to 98, but whatever. And then after that, I'll take a little bit of a break, maybe do some powerlifting in there, and then get ready for the Arnold in March. That's kind of I plan my yearly schedule around the Arnold. That's like that's the Super Bowl. Everything else is just between. So
That's awesome.
Awesome.
That is cool.
Man, we really appreciate you coming.
Yeah.
Before we go, though, Adrian, where can people find you at?
Alpha Project.
So Alpha, I'll do this for you, guys.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
AlphaProjectTraining.org or look them up Alpha_Project for Instagram and Twitter. Jaren, what about you?
Why don't you just do everybody's? I want to see if you remember how to spell my name.
You can look up Jaren. It's JeronKerridge. I only know this because when I saved your number into my phone, I had to say it like that, like a jackass. That's the only way I can hear it.
J-E-R.
To be honest, I have no idea what your handles are. I just know how to spell your name.
At Jaron Carriage on Instagram and on Twitter, but I don't use Twitter. You can pull up Savage Gym on YouTube to get my YouTube channel, www.savagegym.com.
There we go. And just so you guys know, we don't have to say www. That's just assumed. Jeff, where can people find you?
Dub Q.
You can find me always over training with people at Inner Beast CrossFit.
Possibly Disney music.
Yeah, probably listen to Disney music or Gregorian chanting.
Just remember, he can show you the world.
Yeah. And then.
Huh?
That's
and he'll show you.
Shining, shimmering splendor.
There's no wonder why you haven't used it yet.
Yeah. And then you can follow me on Instagram. As everybody says, I post probably 6 times a day or so. I try to keep very active on my Instagram. And that's at Ragnavok, R-A-G-N-A-V-O-K. You can follow me on Twitter, R-A-G-N-O, or N-A-V-O-K. I forgot how to spell.
So
See?
hungry.
Dang it, I already lost the Scrabble. Curses.
Curses.
But
Good grief.
The Disney thing makes so much more sense.
Yeah,
than saying
I
curses.
get it. Curse.
so, and
Wasn't that the
I don't
bad
have
monkey
an
from,
athlete
like,
page
Powerpuff
on
Girls or
Facebook.
something?
I don't care. You can go ahead and like me. It's
I had a
cool.
little sister.
It's Jeff Pearson, JEFFPEARSON. So you can friend me on there, and you can send me emails at ragnavok@gmail.com, RAGNAVOK.
My mother's maiden name is this. This is my address.
What's your social security?
my social security.
I need your last 3 addresses.
So yeah, that's kind of the gist of it all.
Alright.
We gotta figure out a faster way to do this.
Yeah, no. You guys can find me. Well, if these fuckers weren't spelling every goddamn
My
thing.
God.
Well,
You see
I'm
how
sorry,
quickly
I
you
got
don't
cursed
spell?
with a
So,
unique
I'm on
name.
Facebook,
on Instagram.
F-A-C-E-B-O-O-K.
Just look up Instagram, JLarson2498, Twitter, Larson2498. Check us out on YouTube, Chop Talk page. You're going to see the Alpha Minute going up. Lift rescues. You'll see other random videos of these idiots being idiots in the gym. Check us out. Oh, I think that's it for this week.
www. dot, not spelled out, but actually the period.
Yeah, thanks, Patrick.
Shock
for coming
Talk.
down
Suck
and,
it.
Dot TV.
Yeah, dude, you're definitely welcome. Anytime you're in
Yeah,
town,
sweet,
too,
yeah.
we'll have you back. And
awesome. We'll talk more shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel that's always a crowd pleaser. That generates a lot of hits.
It would be like the guest suck
You know,
it.
the only problem is we
Yeah.
did one episode where we did some shit talking, and we still haven't aired.
We
that
haven't
one.
posted it.
Well, because we haven't done our mediation yet.
Right.
We have to do the mediation.
We have
and
to
then-
sit
Well,
down.
also,
We
we
have to
didn't
discuss
have a
feelings.
we didn't have like a line of we're gonna talk some shit, but we're gonna be a little careful. It was we all just decided
No,
just
go
to
for
go off.
Right.
And,
I'm gonna
in for a penny, in for a pound. Dude.
Right.
Right.
Well, it's also the bad thing is though too. Like if I start shit talking these people that I have no idea who they are, and I mean nobody knows who I am. They have no
Nobody
reason.
knows who I
to.
am either.
So, but right, but you could offend a powerlifter and be like, oh man. But for me,
people
they
should
just
know
kick
who
my
they are.
ass, and I can't follow
No,
these
they
guys
won't.
around
Only
all
on
the
the
time.
internet.
So
You'll just get internet hate.
Yeah.
You'll just get emails.
I'd be all right with that. That'd be kind
That's
of
all
fun.
we've gotten is emails.
Go ahead.
All right.
I don't fucking suck it.